happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I am D-WIZZLE here with another movie review. Like, come on, guys. Did you guys think I wasn't going to talk about this movie? Of course, we're going to talk about it. I was so excited to get into this. I'm so sorry I'm late. I know I'm late, but we're here now. Today, we're going to be talking about Wicked, the new musical sensation that came out this past November, based off of the Broadway show and novel. So let's not waste more time. Let's get into this film. So, if you guys have followed my channel, you guys know I am a big theater nerd. I've been in choir, I've done plays, I've done musicals. I love to see some Broadway shows. I grew up with that stuff. And what I also love to watch is a really good movie musical. I love movie musicals, man. I love to watch them. As of the past few years, movie musicals have really been on a roll. I really enjoyed Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. I love The Color Purple. So recently, movie musicals have been hitting really good. And then, of course, you have, some good Disney musical films here and there, even though recently there's been certain ones that haven't hit as hard. Wish. But yeah, of course, whenever you get a movie musical out in theaters, most likely I will go see it for sure. Now, of course, you have to be living under a rock if you didn't know what Wicked is. It's one of the biggest musical Broadway shows of all time. I think for people that even aren't like the biggest into performing arts and theater, like I'm sure they've at least heard about Wicked. Also, on top of the fact that this is technically part of the Wizard of Oz world, so that also is helping in his favor. But I don't know if I've talked about the Wizard of Oz on my channel before, but the original Wizard of Oz film is one of my favorite films of all time. I'm surprised I haven't talked about it yet. I definitely do want to talk about the Wizard of Oz sometime in the near future. But I love the original Wizard of Oz. I think it's absolutely great. And honestly, if there's any Wizard of Oz content, I most likely have seen it. I've seen pretty much every incarnation of Wizard of Oz. I've seen Return to Oz. I've seen stuff like the Wiz, obviously. I saw Oz the Great and Powerful. I even saw the Muppet Wizard of Oz, So I've pretty much seen almost every incarnation of the Wizard of Oz that have come out. But here is the shocking thing, and I'm sure I'm going to have my performing arts card taken away after saying this. I have never seen the Broadway show of Wicked. Yes, I know. I'm even shocked to even say those words. Me being a performing arts kid, and I never got the chance to see the Broadway show. I'm disappointed in myself that I wasn't trying to see that, because like all my choir friends, like all of them have seen Wicked, and I just didn't have a chance to. Not because I didn't want to, but it's just I didn't have the opportunity to, or I keep missing the opportunity to. So this Wicked film is actually going to be my first actual exposure to the IP. This is going to be my first experience with the Wicked show, technically. And I was very excited to see this. For the longest time, I've heard how great the Wicked Broadway show is, and I definitely still want to find a way to go see the Broadway show at some point. But like, I was really excited to see this because everyone was saying how good that Broadway show is. So I'm hoping that the movie will keep the spirit and the essence of what the Broadway show is, and actually will make me even more of a fan of Wicked. So I felt like this is probably one of my most anticipated musical movies out there. And then also hearing that this is going to be a 2-part movie. I'm sorry for people that didn't know that, but yeah, this is the first Wicked is a part 1, and part 2 is going to be released next year in November. But what I will say for people that are apprehensive about seeing it, if because it's a part 1, don't be. Yes, this is a part 1, but this is a self-contained story. Like, it doesn't leave you on a massive cliffhanger. It's not half of a story. Like, it actually has for the most part, a beginning, middle, and end. Even though, yes, there is room for more story to come out next year. So I will say that for people that haven't seen it and didn't know it was part one, don't be worried about it. It's still, for the most part, a self-contained story. But anyway, I was really excited for that too. That it's going to be a part one, part two. So they're going to pretty much cover everything that's from the Broadway show. And then also I hear that they're going to have some influences from the novel. Now, I've never read the novel either. For a while, I didn't even know it was a novel. I thought it was just the Broadway show. So that's actually also interesting. So if they are going to have some story elements from the book, definitely coming into that clean. So yeah, I was just so excited. And then hearing about the cast, they're going to have Ariana Grande play Galinda, which I'll admit I was a little apprehensive about it. Because Ariana Grande, like, I was never really blown away by her acting. Like, I don't think she's horrible or anything, but like, I couldn't help but think about her character in Victorious Cat, whatever. And then there's other movies that she's done that like I wasn't really blown away by her, but obviously we know why they picked Ariana Grande, because she can sing amazingly if you've heard her music. Like, she definitely has the voice for it, but she also has the acting experience at least, so that's fine. And then Cynthia Erivo playing Alphaba, our Wicked Witch of the West. Now, of course, I know there's been some split opinions about that as well, because I'm sure you have the people complaining about the woke stuff in movies, saying like, why are you casting the Wicked Witch as a black woman, blah, 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 blah. And to that, I just say, shut your mouth. It doesn't matter. The Wicked Witch is green. It doesn't really matter if a white person was playing it, a Hispanic person, Asian person. They're all going to be painted green, so it doesn't really matter. Now, I am a fan of Cynthia Erivo as an actress. I did enjoy her in the Harriet movie. Sorry, not Hamlet, the Harriet movie. I thought she was pretty good as Harriet Tubman, and I think that's the main thing I've seen her in. But she acted really, really well. I didn't really know her singing ability before this, and I heard she was a really good singer as well. So definitely fits. And then having Jeff Goldblum play the Wizard of Oz, and then Michelle Yeoh's going to be in this as well. I'm really excited to see how she's going to be. But yeah, so excited to see this film. And after watching Wicked for the first time ever, my first ever exposure to Wicked, I loved this movie. I really, really enjoyed this film. I can't believe what I've been missing. This is what I've been missing for so many years when it came to the Broadway show. This is such an entertaining time. This is a really, really good adaptation, good movie musical, at least in my opinion. I thought they kept the essence of, the world of the Wizard of Oz, and I thought overall the story that they had for this movie was really, really good. The singing, the music in here is absolutely great. The overall world of Oz that the director John M. Chu helped to create. I'm just so happy to be back in the world of Wizard of Oz, because this feels like the most realized Oz we've seen in a very, very long time. But yeah, man, I'm so happy, man. Once again, a movie musical that I absolutely enjoyed, and I definitely need to go see this Broadway show the first chance I get. But yeah, so man, there's so much to gush about this movie. I'll start with just the look of the film. The look of the film is absolutely gorgeous. It's a beautiful looking film. As I said, the way that Oz is realized in this is so good. Because, like, for example, there's been previous versions of like the Wizard of Oz world that I felt like didn't feel quite as good. And like, specifically, I'm talking about stuff like Oz the Great and Powerful with this, because the green screen in that specifically I felt looked kind of not great. I'll say not great in Oz the Great and Powerful. You could tell that they're walking on the green screen, and barely anything in that felt real or like tangible in that. But in this movie, they actually made sets. They actually made the costumes, some houses, like they actually made sets to actually make it feel like it's actually real. They're actually in buildings. They actually have props and stuff like that. It's not just a bunch of green screen. There was some blue green screen effects here and there, but it wasn't too much. It had a good mixture of practical and CGI, and even the CGI looked really, really good in this. Like, literally, the movie just looked so gorgeous. I love this version of Oz, and also I like that we expand more on the world of Oz. We actually get to see the different towns and the community and stuff like that, and even politics in here. I didn't even expect for them to go into that as much as they did, but all of that I thought was very, really interesting. I think this is the most development I have seen Oz have in any of the versions that I've seen previous. So that was really, really good. The music. The music is great. The music is so fun. Man, and once again, I haven't heard any of the songs, and like even there's like a couple of them that I've heard like a couple of notes here and there, but I never listened to any of the songs full out. So I'm pretty much going into it fresh when it comes to the music. But the music in this, oh, it's so good. I found myself singing a couple of those songs many times after watching the movie. Like they're very catchy, uh, all that stuff. So good. Like, The Wizard and I was really good. What is this feeling? Really, really good. Dancing Through My Life. Popular. Popular was stuck in my head for weeks, man. That song is so catchy and it just gets in your head instantly. I just love that. Defying Gravity, like that's their let it go of this movie, and deservedly so. Like, Defying Gravity, I think is probably the one of the best songs in that movie. But yeah, the singing all around was really good. Even Jeff Goldblum did a musical number. He did pretty solid in that as well. But yeah, and of course Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. Like, what is there to even say when it comes to their singing? They nailed it. They knocked it out of the park. It was great. Loved it. Um, but yeah, the singing all around I thought was really good. From everyone who sang in this movie was very, very good. Getting to the actual story, I really liked what they did with this. Like, they actually gave the Wicked Witch of the West some actual compelling backstory and good character development, and like an actual compelling dynamic when it comes to Glinda, the Witch of the North. Like, it actually makes me appreciate the those characters for the previous versions that I've seen. Just like, I really like that they didn't just make the Wicked Witch of the West a one-dimensional villain. Even though I love the original Wicked Witch from the movie, the original movie that came out in the 30s, but she was just an evil cackling witch. There wasn't that much to her. But in this version, I really liked that they gave her a backstory, and it actually was compelling. And this is something that I've been personally frustrated with when it comes to villains, because like as of late, there have been quite a few movies that tried to make iconic villains into anti-heroes and stuff like that, and it felt clunky and it didn't work. Like, but some of the Disney live action remakes like Maleficent and Cruella and stuff like that. And for example, I've been talking about the Sony movies with Spider-Man when they're making Venom and Morbius anti-heroes, and it doesn't work. But in this, when it comes to the development of the Wicked Witch, I thought the development they did with her was really, really good. I actually felt for her as a character. She wasn't just a mustache-twirling villain. But at the same time, they did not sacrifice the terror that the Wicked Witch has. Like, you see little fragments of her becoming the evil witch that she'll eventually become. So there's still a sense of uneasiness and tension and a little bit of scariness coming from her, even though they're mainly trying to focus on her being an actual person and someone who's misunderstood and being discriminated against. And it didn't feel too in your face. And that was one thing I was kind of concerned about going into it, because like why would anyone make fun of the Wicked Witch when this is a land filled with a bunch of mystical creatures and magic and talking animals? Like, why would they make fun of the Wicked Witch? She probably wouldn't even stand out in a world like this. But the story that they told in this specifically, they made it make sense. And I actually felt bad for her. And I'm almost siding with her when it comes to her motivations or the way that she's feeling. Like, almost want to say hashtag the Wicked Witch did nothing wrong. But then you have the other side of the spectrum with Galinda. Ariana Grande as Galinda, this is honestly the best performance I've ever seen from her. She was fantastic as Galinda. And once again, I assumed that she was just going to be the goody two shoes in this movie. Like, she can do nothing wrong, or she's always trying to, do the right thing and stuff like that, because that's how she was in the original movie. But no, even in this, when they're doing development with Galinda, like, even she has her selfish motivations. Even she, when we first are introduced by her, she seemed like not the most likable person either, and she had her own personal motives, and she had her own point of views on things, and she sometimes felt jealous of Alphaba about what she's able to do as far as her magic and stuff like that. So it's like both of them have their equal development and have their own personal motivations, where it's like, you honestly, there isn't really a side. It's like the movie doesn't make you instantly lean towards either side. It's like they're equal, like have their own personal beliefs of why they feel the way they feel. And I thought that was the most compelling thing I've ever seen in a Wizard of Oz anything, to be honest. And it just made the eventual split that's going to happen between the two makes it more tragic. It reminds me of what I saw with Megatron and Optimus Prime, seeing the Transformers 1 not too long ago. It's a similar thing with that, and I thought all of that was done really, really well. And adding on to the politics that they were introducing in this as far as Oz, like, even that stuff I thought was very complex for a Wizard of Oz story. Like, I'm really blown away by what they're able to do with the storytelling. Like, this is a very well told story, like something we've never seen from the Wizard of Oz. I almost want to say this is the best written thing from Wizard of Oz, but I don't want to go that far, because like, even I've read some of the original Wizard of Oz novels, and I thought those are really good too. So like, I have to sit on this. I really have to sit on this. I don't know if it's recency bias with me, but like, I'm just really impressed with what they're able to do with the story. On top of the fact that the music is really good, and that the visual effects are really, really good, and yeah, just all around, just it's so well done. Like, as far as like issues I may have with it, like, I'll say that Jonathan Bailey and Ethan Slater's characters, I didn't really care for them that much. I mean, not that I thought that they were bad, but it's just those characters I didn't feel like were as interesting as the stuff with Galinda and Alphaba. And obviously, I wouldn't really expect that because they're the two main leads of the film. But their inclusion in this, as far as like they're hinting at some romances and some love triangles, and once again, it's just there to emphasize the fact of Alphaba and other people in Oz feeling discriminated against and stuff like that. It added to that type of thing. But as far as them as characters, Prince Flayero and Bach Woodsman, they were fine. They were just fine. And you know what? I'm not going to spoil that for people that don't know. So like, there are some things with those characters I feel like there's going to be some interesting twists and turns with those two when it comes to part 2, but that's all I'm going to say about that. That may tie into the story with the original Wizard of Oz, with Dorothy and all that. So there might be some interesting stuff with that. So I'm interested to see where it goes from there. But yeah, they were fine. Honestly, I don't really have any other issues with this movie. Like, there's so much that I enjoyed about this film. Like, I want to see this numerous times. You know what? I'll say this one little nitpick. One little nitpick though. The movie is really long. This movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes, and understandably so. They want to cover as much as they can from the Broadway show, and this is going to be a two-part story. From what I heard, 2 hours and 40 minutes was the length of the Broadway show, so that's kind of cool how they tried to align it with that. But and I guess it really depends on the person. Like for me, I felt a little bit of the pacing towards the middle of it. I wasn't bored at all, but I just felt the length of it. Like this was a very long film. But then I heard other people that have seen the movie that said that the pacing didn't bother them, and some of them even said that the movie went by really quick for them. So it really just depends on your speed. But just know this is a long movie. This is 2 hours and 40 minutes. So you guys know what you guys are able to stay awake through. So if you guys need to take a good nap before seeing this movie, make sure you do. But honestly, that's the only issues that I have with this film. I pretty much loved the majority of this movie, and I can't wait to see it again. I think Cynthia Erivo was fantastic as Alphaba / the Wicked Witch. I loved Ariana Grande as Glinda, the Good Witch of the North. If these two don't get nominated for Oscars, like, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing here? They deserve it. They need to be nominated and possibly win. They did amazing jobs in this movie, and they're both co-leads. I don't think either of them felt like supporting characters either. They both feel like co-leads. So, yeah, they need to be recognized for that, for sure. But yeah, the music in this is fantastic. I loved it. The overall world building of Oz I thought was great. Jeff Goldblum as the wizard was really good. Michelle Yeoh as Madame shoot, I'm forgetting her name. The main headmaster of the school that they're in. I thought she was great as well. I forgot to mention her, but Michelle Yeoh is great in everything, so I didn't expect anything less from her. The storytelling in this movie is really good. This is some of the most compelling storytelling I've seen from a Wizard of Oz story, and it actually makes me want to read the novels too as well. But yeah, definitely go see this movie if you are a fan of The Wizard of Oz. If you're a fan of the Wicked Broadway show and the novels, if you're a fan of musicals in general, you need to go see this film. So I'm going to give Wicked Part 1 an A. Awesome, awesome film. But that's my thoughts on Wicked. What did you guys think about it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? How does this compare to the Broadway show? How does this compare to other versions of Wizard of Oz that you've seen? Are you guys excited for part 2? Comment your thoughts down below and let me know. So yes, I am going to see part 2, and I'll give you guys a review for that when that eventually comes out. I hate that we have to wait a whole year for it, because usually you wait like 6 months between a part 1 and part 2. But either way, I think the wait will be worth it. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this review, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit the bell if you want to be notified on future videos I'll be doing. But that's all I have for you Wicked fans, and I'll catch you guys next time. Talk to you guys later.